The Fed's now focusing on Trump's family business, looking to see if other Trump Organization executives were involved in secret payments to women during the 2016 campaign. After Mueller and New York feds dropped those bombshell reports, Trump's scrambling after Cohen claims he acted, quote, at the direction of Trump. Now House Democrats ready to take over power, talking about impeachment. Watch this.
Certainly they'd be impeachable offenses because even though they were committed before the president became president, they were committed in the service of fraudulently obtaining the office. You don't necessarily launch an impeachment against the president because he committed an impeachable offense.
Well, impeachment obviously is the ultimate check on the executive branch. I think we have to wait until we get the Mueller report to provide some guidance.
Meanwhile, the incoming House Intelligence Committee Chair, Congressman Adam Schiff, is actually going there. Watch this.
There's a very real prospect that on the day Donald Trump leaves office, the Justice Department may indict him, that he may be the first president in quite some time to face the real prospect of jail time.
All right, let's talk all about this because that is huge. Joining me now, Congresswoman Karen Bass, chair-elect of the Congressional Black Caucus, and back with us, Joyce Vance. Congresswoman, I'm going to start with you on this one. I just want to get it out there. Are you for impeachment talks?
Well, you know what? Not right now. I'm not. I think when we take over in January, there is so much on our plate. Basically, this president over the last 2 years has had no oversight. Congress has not done its job. And so the first thing that we need to do is to do our job and to do oversight in several committees. And in addition to that, as one of my colleagues said, I think it's going to be very important to protect Mueller so that he actually is able to issue a report, and a report that the world could see, not a report that's redacted so heavily we don't even know what is said, or a report that the administration tries to squash.
You know, you heard Congressman Nadler there saying we really have to think about if these are impeachable offenses and if we should actually go through with the impeachment. It seems like Democrats, Congresswoman, have a real strategy here going forward. Is this coming down to being about 2020 or 2024 for that matter?
No, I really don't think it is. I think it's about doing our job. And so it is possible that we might have to move forward with impeachment, especially if information keeps coming out where the president has been involved in illegal activity. I also find it ironic that my Republican colleagues who often wave the flag of law and order are now all of a sudden getting squishy over, well, these really aren't serious offenses. We are talking about the president of the United States. And so I think it's very important that we not jump the gun, that we be methodical about our approach. And as I said, I believe the first step of that approach is to provide the oversight that Congress has not provided over the last 2 years.
So why do you think it is that Adam Schiff went out there on a limb, really, and said we could be talking about the next president having to pardon this current president?
Because I think if you listen to carefully what he was saying, he was talking about, number one, after this term is over, but he was also making reference to the same thing I just did. If more and more information comes out that it clearly shows that the president has been involved in crimes, then of course it might come up on our agenda even before we wanted to. But people do have to remember, and I know you know this, we can impeach every day of the week here in the House. He won't be tried and convicted in the Senate. And so if we move forward with impeachment, it really is going to have to be dire, and I think it would be after the Mueller report, and it would be after more and more information comes out. Our first order of business when we get back is the Voting Rights Act, is helping the Affordable Care Act, which has been dying death of 1,000 cuts, lowering prescription drugs, addressing income inequality, really demonstrate that the Republicans want, that the Democrats want to govern, and that we want to govern from the perspective that is for the average person.
All right, so we talked earlier about the Moscow Project. Senator Rand Paul basically putting it out there on Sunday that he doesn't see anything wrong with the Moscow Project. He doesn't see anything wrong with a Trump Tower in Moscow. I want to take a listen to that and then have you both react.
Sure.
They don't know what's illegal about trying to build a hotel in Russia. So this is pretty common, and I see no problem with someone running for president trying to build a hotel somewhere. Now, if you were asking and saying, I will give you something in exchange for letting us build a hotel, that would be wrong. But I haven't heard any evidence of that. Just trying to build a hotel somewhere, I can't imagine how that would be criminal.
So, Joyce, I'm going to have Joyce weigh in on this first, Congresswoman, if you don't mind standing by. Sure. Joyce, so react to what Rand Paul said, that he doesn't see anything wrong with building a Trump Tower in Moscow while he's running for president. And then, to add to that, the information that they were offering the penthouse to President Putin.
Right.
Sure. And I think Rand Paul starts in exactly the place that Congresswoman Bass envisions. That place is ensuring that Bob Mueller can deliver a report not just to the Congress, but to the American people, because we need to know the facts. Maybe it's just unsavory that a presidential candidate is conducting business in a foreign country that's hostile to us, or maybe there's something criminal there. We need that investigation to be completed, and we need to ensure that the president can't interfere. Because if it turns out there was a quid pro quo, if a bribe was being offered to move that deal forward, or if there was even an attempt to offer that kind of a bribe, then that's the sort of information that the American people and certainly Congress needs to have so it can weigh whether there needs to be impeachment proceedings.
Congresswoman?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Senator Paul knows better than what he was saying. You know, clearly, if there's going to be a tower that is built in Moscow, it's not going to come without Putin's involvement, and Putin is going to want something for it. And then giving away the penthouse, that's just going to be a gift. I mean, you know, in our country, a president can't receive gifts from overseas governments. And so Putin receiving a penthouse suite, I think that Rand Paul knows better than that. That's playing loosey-goosey with the law. And when you were talking about the presidency of the United States, the tone that is set, that the law does not apply to me, what does that say to the rest of the country? And what does that say to our standing in the world? I'm sure European countries would be looking at this engagement with Putin and the hotel as being either incredibly naive on Trump's part or just outright corrupt.
So are you giving him the benefit of the doubt, or is he just really part of the PR campaign to combat this whole thing?
I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think it's openly corrupt. But you could also look at a lot of other examples. You know that he has made money almost every day of his presidency. Every time he goes to one of his resorts on the weekends, taxpayers pay for all of the Secret Service that stay there, all of the security that he needs. He has been raking in a lot of money. His hotel that's right down the street from the White House, it's been documented over and over again how foreign governments take major rooms and hold events there in anticipation of currying favor with the White House. And so it's that level of corruption that when we do oversight, we need to examine. Is it corruption? Am I exaggerating? That's what we need to get to the bottom of. And I think when Democrats get the gavels and provide the oversight that has not been provided over the last 2 years, I think that the American public will learn an awful lot more about this administration.
All right, Congresswoman Karen Bass and Joyce Vance, thank you both for joining me. Appreciate it.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.